living hell. Have you ever had a day where the kid starts screaming?
Andrew Holness. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, welcome to this ROOFS grant handover ceremony on the grounds of the MLSS Parish Office in Santa Cruz in the Breadbasket Parish of St. Elizabeth. Isn't it a lovely afternoon, ladies and gentlemen? It is not hot, it is cool, and guess what? We are getting our grants and our checks today. I think that deserves a round of applause, right? Because Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica on October 28th, and today is what, the 30th of January? Just about 3 months ago, and the government has been working tirelessly. In 3 months, we can come together to, of course, repair homes and restore lives. And that is a good thing. Such a good thing. So we do want to welcome you. And of course, marking the first tranche of the payments to beneficiaries under the Restoration of Owner-Occupant Family Shelters ROOFS initiative. I'm Talia Suarez-Brown, and I'll be your moderator for today's program. Now, of course, today represents an important milestone in the national recovery effort, a shift from damage assessment to coordinated delivery of shelter solutions focused on restoring safe, habitable living conditions for affected families. Now, before we proceed, please allow me to acknowledge our distinguished guests. Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. The Honorable Colonel Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security. The Honorable Floyd Green, Member of Parliament, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. The Honorable Donovan Williams, Member of Parliament, Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Mrs. Dion Jennings, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Mrs. Marcia Henry Martin, Permanent Secretary for Local Government. Mrs. Sanchia Bennett Templar, Permanent Secretary representing the Honorable Aubin Hill, Minister of Investment, Industry and Commerce. Mrs. Audrey Dare Williams, Chief Technical Director. Ms. Gillian Corodos, Chief Technical Director Acting. Mrs. Suzette Morris, Director of Social Security. Dr. Kemisha Anderson Thomas, Director of Public Assistance. Ms. Michelle Senior, Parish Manager, St. Elizabeth. His Worship, the Mayor Councillor Richard Solomon, Mayor of Black River. Ms. Zulika Jess, Member of Parliament, St. Elizabeth Northeastern. Other invited MPs and councillors, other government officials, partner agencies, members of staff of the ministry and community leaders, members of the media, and especially our beneficiaries and residents of St. Elizabeth, thank you so much all for being here this afternoon. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have to include God in the midst of all things that we do. Yes, we do. You agree with me, right? Yes, we have to put him first in everything that we do. So at this time, we will now have the prayer by Miss Michelle Senior, MLSS Parish Manager for St. Elizabeth. Please put your hands together for her, and let's welcome her this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. And it is important that we give reverence to God. He has been our guide and our keeper. Can we stand for prayers, please? Our most sovereign God, creator of humanity and all things. God, we give you thanks today because you're the reason we're here. Father God, we just want to honor you because, Lord, you know what brought us here. We want to give thanks that you have kept us, to recognize the efforts of the teams that have reached out to the families who have been affected. And this evening, God, we give you thanks that we're able to assist with restoring and renewing lives. Father God, we know that there are persons who are still displaced and are traumatized because of all that has happened over the few months. But Lord, there is hope, and this evening brings hope and provides promise for those persons who were affected. So Lord, as we gather in the presence of our leaders, our PM, and our ministers and other representatives, Lord, they represent what we are about to present to the beneficiaries. Father God, I thank you for preserving the lives of those who are here today to receive their benefits. Lord, I also want to thank you for keeping the teams who have walked the hills and the valleys to do the assessments, for all the team members who came from all the other parishes and all the other service stakeholders, Lord, SDC and all the other stakeholders who came on board for us to do the assessment that the beneficiaries can be here this afternoon. Lord, we thank you for them. And as we proceed and we continue to improve the lives of those persons, we ask that you will continue to be with us, that you will continue to guide and protect us and strengthen us. And Father God, we thank you for such a lovely evening. And when we will have left here, we pray for journeying mercies. Thank you again, Lord, because all honor and glory belongs only to you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Miss Senior. God is good. And all the time, God is good indeed. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, ROOFS is designed to help eligible households recover through tiered grants based on verified damage assessments for minor damage, for major damage, and for severe damage. This assistance is supported by an overall allocation and is intended to restore safe and habitable living conditions and, of course, reduce duplication of recovery efforts and prioritize vulnerable groups. Now, the Shelter Recovery Program is a nationally coordinated, data-driven post-disaster framework managed by the ministry. It integrates cash-based recovery, government-directed and partner-led repairs, relocation solutions, and pathways to long-term housing support. Now, at this time, to officially welcome us, let's welcome our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Mrs. Dion Jennings. Please put your hands together for her.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, Ms. Talia Soares-Brown, and Ms. Michelle Senior for that thoughtful prayer that has grounded us as we begin this important occasion. Good afternoon, distinguished guests. Don't sound like you're not happy. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Sounding better. On behalf of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the ROOFS handover ceremony here in the beautiful Breadbasket Parish of St. Elizabeth. This is where the hurricane entered, the parish of St. Elizabeth, one of the largest parishes in Jamaica. And so we are starting the handover ceremony right here in St. Elizabeth. That's fair, right? Yes. Wonderful. So today's ceremony represents not only the handover of support, but a meaningful step as we advance Jamaica's recovery journey. Let me formally acknowledge our distinguished guests present this afternoon. First, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Minister of Defense and Minister of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, as well as Chair of the National Disaster Risk Management Council. Prime Minister, We are deeply grateful to you for your presence here and your unwavering commitment to the welfare and recovery of Jamaican families. Your proactive and strategic leadership has been very integral and very transformative in our disaster response, preparation, and recovery, assisting us to ensure that it is more structured, resourced, accountable, and coordinated. I also want to acknowledge our Minister of Labour and Social Security, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., and thank him for his steadfast leadership and commitment in guiding the Shelter Recovery Program's ROOFS initiative. And we heard what ROOFS is. What is ROOFS? Restoration of owner or occupant family shelters. So we need to get acquainted with that one. Because we want? Yes, we want ROOFS. Let me also greet our Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and Member of Parliament for Southwestern St. Elizabeth. Also other members of the Cabinet, and our own Minister of State in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Honorable Donovan Williams, for his commitments and also his collaboration in working with our Minister in guiding us through this. I also want to welcome Member of Parliament Andrew Morris, and also Permanent Secretary Mrs. Marsha Henry Martin from the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. We also want to recognize other councillors here and other partners, community leaders, residents, members of the business community, and of course, we want to acknowledge staff of ministries, departments, and agencies, representatives from the Social Development Commission, the Poor Relief Department, ODPEM, and of course, our own staff here at the St. Elizabeth Parish Office. Let's give them a hand. And also the staff from the head office who are also here. And I know we have some joining us from Manchester as well, and even Clarendon, because they too have supported the team here in St. Elizabeth in conducting the assessments and ensuring that we are here today. And so I want to greet you all, whether you're from Parati or Junction, from Ginger Hill to Mountainside, from Goshen to Newmarket, from New River, or here in Santa Cruz. Thank you for coming and for joining us here today. We are advancing our assessments, and now we are here to hand over grants to persons who qualify. We have been able to achieve 16,662 assessments in the parish of St. Elizabeth. Give the team a round of applause. We have almost 50,000 families who have been affected. And so this handover ceremony represents partnership between the government and the people through the People's Ministry, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. It also represents a strong commitment to restoration of owner or occupant family shelters, to repair homes and restore lives. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this important occasion, and your presence here today reinforces the collective responsibility we share in ensuring that the recovery process is not just promised, but delivered. Once again, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. One more time for our permanent secretary, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jennings. A meaningful step in our recovery today, and I think the government deserves another round of applause. Over 16,000 assessments done in just 3 months. We're not just making promises, but it's all about action as well, restoring lives. Thank you so much, Madame P.S. Now at this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the Minister with Responsibility for Labor and Social Security. His leadership continues to strengthen our social protection systems and improve the quality of life for Jamaica's most vulnerable citizens. Under his stewardship, of course, programs such as ROOFS will bring real, tangible relief to families across the island, turning policy into protection and commitment and, of course, action, as we mentioned. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's now invite the Honorable Colonel Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security, to deliver his remarks. Put your hands together for him, please.
Thank you so much to our Master of Ceremonies. Let me, of course, firstly acknowledge our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, and thank him for being here. Of course, I always wonder how he is able to be in 15 different places at the same time. But, you know, that's why you're Prime Minister. Let me also acknowledge, of course, my Minister of State, who is here, my cabinet colleague, Minister Green, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth. And I want to thank Minister Green, because when it comes on to St. Elizabeth and the West, I'm able to make one call, and he makes the other calls. I want to thank also Member of Parliament Andrew Morris, my Permanent Secretary, who is here as well, the Mayor. Mayor, you should stand up so that people can see you. The Mayor who is here as well. Please give the Mayor a round of applause. Yes. I see the Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development representing the Minister as well. Yes. My Chief Technical Director, other directors, all of the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, beneficiaries of the ROOFS grants that are here today, members of the media. Again, yes, clap yourselves, please. We're joined also by some of the representatives from our stakeholder partners, I say a representative from WePay and others who are here. I want to thank everyone for being here. It's a very important day. This is, for me, the government's response in action. It shows that when we say hope and resilience, that we're willing to work assiduously, deliberately to get it done. The Prime Minister gave us a target, which was not easy. It was not easy at all. And I want to take the time to just thank every single staff member of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Every single one who has contributed in one way or the other. We have several persons who, I don't want to start calling the names, but I must tell you, when you think about back-to-back hurricanes and the fact that this ministry and the staff have to be on the ground, and when everything else settles, we are still on the ground, mopping up and doing that work, I must tell you, I am very, very, very grateful for committed servants, and I want to definitely acknowledge them and thank them. This is a moment where I believe Jamaica, we have moved from the immediate relief to strategic recovery. And we have done so not alone. We have done so with several partners. The ministry has partnered with JDF, JCF, with other ministries. We've partnered with the Red Cross, ADRA, Salvation Army, Food for the Poor, CHEM, all of the members of the Humanitarian Assistance Committee. And we have been out there serving, meeting, listening to the people, letting them understand that when we do these assessments, it's not just about the four walls, it's about you. We ask you questions about you. How are you doing? Who is in the house with you? How are they? What is the state of your assets? And what we have done is we have learned lessons from burial. And so, primarily, you will see our team members with their devices because we're using the new format, the modern, upgrade, improvement that allows us to take pictures, drop GPS location so we know exactly what your state is. So even if you put on back a little thing on your roof, we know where it was, and that can't stop you from getting your grant. I know that question was coming, so I answered it for you. I want to also thank Minister Witter, who is here as well. So, in all of this, our goal is to make sure that every Jamaican that is impacted by Hurricane Melissa receives some support. Now, you may not receive all the support from government. There are several partners that have come in, already provided full housing solutions. There are some that have come in and provided full roofing solutions. But there are still persons who need help, correct? I'm not hearing you. I mean, everybody all right, man? Everybody good? I can't tell the PM to go home, man. Everybody good, PM. No, need no money. No, I'm not equal. You know what? Yes. I take your advice. But the reality is that we have put together the shelter recovery program under the instructions of our Prime Minister, and it's not just a one-off, one-element program. It's a comprehensive solution with 6 different interventions, and the one that we're focused on today is a flagship intervention with an initial $10 billion allocation. That's 10 billion with a B, a lot of money. Now, how you get that money? You ever shake a tree? That money comes from good decisions, good management, good leadership that allow this country to go through COVID, go through burial, go through flood, go through drought, and still have enough so that when Melissa come and damage you, we can say, here is some support to get you back on your feet. In my opinion, this is a government that cares. But this is a government that not only cares, it's a government of action. Strategic decisions that have allowed us to be able to help you. I want to thank our Prime Minister. Let me tell you, you'll hear that I'm calling up his name a lot, but let me tell you why I do. I'm an objective person. And I can tell you, I'm proud to be a member of cabinet because when I listen to our Prime Minister, still one of the youngest leaders in the world. Well, yes. Still one of the youngest. One of the youngest looking leaders in the world. Let's leave it there. What you get from him is decisive instructions to make sure that the people are at the center of everything that we do. Minister, we must have this program rolled out 5 times faster than we did before. But how? Find a way. Minister, your ministry will be distributing grants by the end of January. But how are we going to do that, Prime Minister? Find a way. Minister, you have to make sure that you go in the nooks and the crannies and the hill and the gully and you find the people who are the most vulnerable. How? Find a way. And we have responded. And we have gone to the nooks and crannies. And we've gone to the hills and the valleys. And sometimes I tell you, the social workers and the volunteers and the field officers get home almost midnight. Some of them will say to you, boy, Minister, you owe me a shoes. Because where you have me a walk, Mayor, some of the places where they're walking, when them toe buck, toenail gone, shoe bottom gone. And I want to say one more thing, because the Prime Minister will speak. One of the things that I've noted is that many of our workers are also victims of Hurricane Melissa. Many of them are in the same situation, sometimes worse than you. Parish manager, social worker, ancillary staff, many of whom will tell you that they have lost their roof. Some have lost their entire home, Permanent Secretary. But what is important to note is that those same workers who lost their home, lost their roof, have been damaged, are the same ones that are on the road night after night, day after day, doing the work for this country, serving the people. And so as we have done our assessments, which I can tell you, and I put it into context, in Beryl, Director Suzette Morris, it took us about what? 8 months, 8 to 9 months, and we did less than 19,000 assessments. And we were working hard. After Melissa, and the charge from the Prime Minister to find her, in 1 month, we doubled what we did in the 8 months of burial. In 3 months, we can tell you now that we have surpassed 85,000 household assessments across this country. CTD, Dear Williams, Permanent Secretary Jennings have trained hundreds of persons, hundreds of field officers and Jamaicans to get out on the road and do those assessments day by day. And we are grateful for them. Director Anderson Thomas and the JDF are still out giving support to hundreds of Jamaicans, despite. And it is that assessment, Prime Minister, us to get the beneficiary list. And that beneficiary list is from which we select the persons, now Minister Williams, to give them the cash grant. Now moving quickly through, let me remind you of what that grant will be. The persons who are categorized as minor damage will receive a grant of $75,000. And you would have heard, Prime Minister, that $75,000 is a rehabilitation grant. And you can do what you need and provide support to your family as is needed with that $75,000. We hope and we encourage you to utilize it in the best way possible to repair your home. I know that some, particularly those who might have gotten some help from church or friends overseas or friends here or whatever it is, even if you are able to do it yourself, you may need that money to put towards mattress or something else in the home, books. Use it wisely. For the persons who have major damage, they will receive $200,000. And for the most severe, $500,000. Now, it's important to note that when we look on our list, Minister Green, we use particularly 2 principles. The first one is that we prioritize severity, meaning we are looking to give the support to those persons who have been impacted the most first as much as possible. And you can understand why, correct? The second is that we target vulnerability, meaning no matter where you are, whether it's minor, major, or severe, if you are a senior citizen, if you're a person with disability, you can understand that you need the help more than others might need it. Not that everybody doesn't need it, but we target the vulnerability and make sure that those persons are getting the support that they need as fast as possible. The third thing is that those same public sector workers that we have to rely on, to go on the road, beat the street, we want to call on them and make sure that we can give them a little support to. Don't you think that's the right way to do it? So we use those 3 principles, Prime Minister, to make sure that we identify the right persons first. As you said, not the greedy, but the needy. Let me wind down. Receiving this grant really is, again, a sign of the government's caring, of the government's strategic effort to make sure that we help you to build forward stronger. And so it is the beginning. It is not the end of recovery. We have established support systems. Mrs. Senior is here with the team for you because we understand that beyond just the damage to your home, many of you have stories that might never be told, but we hear them. Stories regarding the learning loss, not being able to get your children back to school. Stories of the elderly who for a couple of days never had access to medicine. Stories of the persons who never did anything wrong. You never lose your job. You never resign from your job, but you just never had any work to go to for a time. And so we understand it. And that is why, as a ministry, we're going to continue, even outside of what we're doing here today, to be the space that you can come to get some support. Prime Minister, you'll be pleased to know that we are working with stakeholders, not just to focus on the infrastructure, but the psychosocial support that is needed for many persons who continue to be impacted by the trauma that this hurricane has brought. It did not just destroy homes. For some, it destroyed livelihoods. And so it was very scary, and still is for many, to think about how you're going to be able to give to your children when you yourself can't give to yourself. Am I right? Yes, sir. I know, Prime Minister, that there are still some that are awaiting assistance. There's still some waiting on assessments and verifications. I want you to know that we're going to work hard to make sure that no family is left behind. I want to remind you, before I close, that we have a self-reporting mechanism for those who can access it. So if you know that persons on your street, for instance, have been assessed, but you weren't home, nobody cuss us and say, boy, the ministry did not come. Just find a way to get onto that system and give us your information. And if you can't get online for whatever reason, we have many different ways for you to contact us. Come right to the parish office and they will facilitate you. We are also leaving calling cards when we come to you, to your residence, and we don't find you, to make sure that you have all the details necessary to be able to contact us so we can arrange assessments. You who are here more than likely have already been assessed, verified. And so you need to be the messengers spreading that message to persons who you're here having any issue. But I want to caution that there are some, as always, that are trying to manipulate the system. And at this stage, trying to say that they had received damage. Please remember that we have taken a lot of pictures. We've used drone technology, maps, so we know what the state of the space was before and after Hurricane Melissa. I left for last perhaps the most important message for today. Prime Minister, you tasked us with an almost impossible task of getting the assessments, you said, at least above 75,000. We have gone to 85. You said to us, 86. My apologies, madam. 86,000. You said to us that we must make sure that we start the distribution of the grants for roofs before the end of January. Can somebody tell me what day it is today? Excuse me? 30. What is the last day in January? 31. So it means, Prime Minister, that we're not on time. We are before time. And I'm proud to tell you that we have successfully, with a lot of work, started the distribution of grants under the ROOFS program. With the first utilizing our sophisticated, modern, digital modality to provide QR codes and text messages to the phones of at least 50 persons of the most severe damage. And they can take that and they can go to the merchants that we have in our network and get their $500,000 worth of material. We have also provided support to 1, 2, 3, 4. You understand what that means? 1,234. You say, oh God, good. You will never forget that number in your life. 1,234 beneficiaries who are not just beneficiaries, but again, remember the second principle. We have identified the persons who are vulnerable and who need the help. And so majority of those persons are our senior citizens who need the support. Isn't that good? Isn't that a good thing? And we have other things to do today, but I'll leave that. I'll leave that for that to be announced thereafter. I want to close again by just saying to you that the government's effort is to provide hope in action and to show you that we are going to get you back into a space of resilience. Let us move forward together from recovery to resilience. That is the word that we are using as our target in everything that we do. Your families are going to be okay. Your families will be okay. For those of you, no more water coming back again. Yes, all right. Yes, give thanks. Can I just close by saying again to all of you and to several who are listening, on behalf of the ministry, on behalf of the government, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your cooperation. And I want to say this. Thank you for your partnership. There are many of you here who are not just beneficiaries receiving a grant. But I'm telling you, I hear the stories of you carrying our social workers around. I hear the stories of you walking the street with us. I hear the stories of you not having your house, but you're still asking our workers what they need. And we appreciate you, and we're proud of you, and we thank you. One love.
One more time for our minister, ladies and gentlemen. Colonel Charles Jr. working day in, day out to ensure that every Jamaican impacted by Hurricane Melissa receives some kind of support. Thank you so much, Minister. And if you agree with me, you can give yourselves a round of applause. Do you believe that as Jamaican people, we are some of the most selfless people you can possibly find? Right? Because when it is that you saw your neighbor in need, right? Following the devastation, we joined hands and hearts together. We assisted, we cleared roads, we worked together. And the minister thanked you as well for your partnership so far. Right? So if it is that you believe that you have a selfless neighbor, please to give yourselves and your neighbor a round of applause because they have helped you to be here as well. And thank you so much for also being resilient people through it all. Now at this time, we want to break for a brief musical treat. So at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Kemoy Dyer, Client Services Manager from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, to the stage. He will be entertaining us with a musical piece entitled, I Will Rise Again. Put your hands together for him. One more time for Mr. Kemoy Dyer, ladies and gentlemen, Client Services Officer from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And I know that as Jamaican people, we are multifaceted individuals. It means so we can do more than one things, right? Yes. As you'd always say, you make your hand, you take your hand turn fashion, right? So no matter what, even if you have one skill, you can do multiple things. Thank you so much, Kemoy, for that beautiful presentation. Now at this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct honor to introduce our keynote speaker this afternoon. A leader whose vision, resolve, and dedication continue to guide Jamaica's growth and development, even in the face of adversity. His administration remains committed to inclusive development, social equity, and ensuring that no Jamaican is left behind. Please join me in welcoming the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Thank you very much, Madam Director of Protocol and Master of these ceremonies, Mrs. Delia Suarez Brown. I want to acknowledge the Minister of Labor and Social Security, the Honorable Pernell Charles. I won't bother say Junior. Because he's now more than walking in his father's footsteps. He's walking in his own footsteps, leaving his own footprints. And he has really risen to the challenge of managing two major natural disasters back to back. So, good job, Minister. Good job. We have here with us the Member of Parliament. I know I have two other members of Parliament here, but I'm going to say something because, we have a tendency when we say MPs, we say Floyd Green, Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth. Frank, don't feel no way. Andrew, where is Zulika Jess? She's not here? She had another engagement. But that is just because Minister Green is a Minister of Agriculture, so he's Minister for the Breadbasket Parish. So we have Minister Green, Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth. We have another Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture. Frank, good to see you here. All right. And we have Andrew Morris, the new kid on the block. Good to see you here, Andrew. We have the Honorable Donovan Williams. Now, if you talk to him, he will tell you that his constituency was also impacted by Melissa. In fact, if you talk to any MP, they will tell you their constituency was impacted by Melissa. But no, he's not here to receive any of the benefits for his constituency. He's here as the Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Mrs. Dion Jennings, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and other permanent secretaries who may be here. His Worship, the Mayor, Mr. Mayor, good to see you. And of course, the most important people in this ceremony, the beneficiaries of the ROOFS program. And you remember what the ROOFS acronym stands for? It's the restoration of owner or occupant family shelter. ROOFS. Quite appropriately coined. Now, just to be quick about it, already the government has distributed 1,234 grants under the ROOFS program. And they have done this by direct transfers, meaning it has gone from the bank account of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security into the bank accounts of the 1,234 beneficiaries. And that process will just be ongoing. As we verify a bank account, we send you a text to tell you that it has hit your bank account. These are mainly persons who would have received minor damage, but are also in the highly vulnerable category, primarily persons who are elderly, persons who are shut-in, persons with disability. But the government has also issued so far to 50 persons who have been assessed as having severe damage. So far, since we have started, which was just today, 50 persons have gotten their $500,000 grant to restore their roof. Now, while Pernell was talking, a lady was so moved. And she said, "Thank God, no more water coming on me now. See her there?" Melissa, why I tell you. So, I want it to be clearly known. You have a government that is very empathetic. Meaning, we not only feel sorry for you, which is sympathetic, but we understand your pain, and therefore we act with urgency to help you to come out of that situation of pain. Empathy. Now, there are those who will try to paint the government as not caring and not doing anything. Lie. Lie. We, as a government, has acted with speed and alacrity because we are a government that genuinely cares for the people. They are those who will say they care, and they will say it with the greatest of eloquence and theatrical pretense that you may even believe them. But as the most Honorable Edward Seaga was once noted to have said, to much criticism, it is one thing to say you care. It is another thing to have the cash to care. And it is one thing that this government has been able to do. Not just to say we care, but we have administered your affairs such that we have the cash to back up the care talk with action. And we have done it in COVID, when we have put on the largest social transfer program ever in the history, $40 billion of care for people who lost their jobs, lost their income, and we gave a grant to everybody just because we love you. In COVID, you remember that? People line up and go and collect the little grant. I see one lady said, "Me never get." But 400,000 Jamaicans got the grants. Everything verified. Not one criticism, not one audit to say there was any corruption. Not one. Then Beryl came. We gave over 16,000 grants. And I tell you something, I was in St. Mary. I was in a little town there. And a man stopped me and he said, Prime Minister, the government now do nothing. Listen carefully. Because me not get my grant for burial. And I stop and I reflect on it and I say, the Monday before I sat with the minister and cabinet and I said, tell me how many persons got grants? And it showed me the list that 16,000+ Jamaicans got grant. But one person never get. And him stopped me in the middle of the town and at the top of his voice because he didn't get. The government not do nothing. And that is the nature of the world we live in. It's just how politics is, how people see their government. If the government never serve me, then not never get done. And we have to be cognizant of this fact. Because one loud voice saying negative can impact the perspective of the 16,000 who received, but don't say a word. Because nobody stopped being the told to say, I received. And indeed, they shouldn't. That's the government's job. You suppose you get the grant. That's how it is. But it is important that you manage the narrative and the mood. Because as a man thinketh, and if people start to think negative, they will start to act negative. And it is one thing that we must keep in these difficult times, times of disaster. It is an optimistic attitude. It's a positive attitude. Because if you think that things are not going well, if you think that you are being unfairly treated and you are under distress and there is no hope, then that will be the reality. That will be your reality. I know when I speak, I move people to ask questions. You know, see another lady there telling me she wants to. But when I finish my speech. Now, there are a few things I want to say to you, since I have you and you are all very attentive and want to ask questions and participate in the presentation. I just thought I would share this with you. In the 65 years since 1960, some of you were born then. In fact, when I look at the audience, a lot of you weren't born then. Maybe 10% of this audience was around in 1965. There have been 799 recorded storms. 799, almost 800 storms. 201 of those storms, almost 25% of those storms, have occurred within the last 10 years. So for 65 years, 800 storms. But a quarter of them, 201, have occurred in the last 10 years. But think about it. Which administration then would have experienced the most storms? My administrations. From 2016 to now. This administration has been impacted the most by storms. Let me give you another statistic. There have been 34 Category 5 hurricanes since 1960. 14 of them have occurred since 2015. In other words, 40% of all Category 5 storms have taken place in the last 10 years. Which government of Jamaica has ever had to deal with a Category 5 storm? All right, let's take it one step further. Which government of Jamaica has ever had to deal with a pandemic? All right, which government of Jamaica has had to deal with a pandemic, a Category 3 hurricane, and then the following year a Category 5 hurricane? None. And in all of them, we have been able to respond, recover stronger. This is not an easy job. I see a lot of people pretending, because that's all they're doing, pretending like they would want to do my job. They don't know. they think maybe it just looks so easy. But it's not easy. Now, one thing that my administration tries to do is to approach these things with structure. And because we put a lot of effort into doing it correctly, we are not able to deliver at the speed of need. Meaning, as you need it, you get it. Other things that we have to do. For example, in this program, as we are trying to hurry to get you the grant, there is a constitutional creature called the Auditor General that is not just waiting until you make a mistake, but the Auditor General is actively auditing as you are carrying out the effort to respond. That in itself places some friction on our ability to move quickly. Because it is one thing to deliver the grant to you, but it's another thing to deliver it and somebody saying, you know, half of the grant gone, can't account for it. What we want to do is to make sure that every dollar of the grant end up in your pocket and not somebody else who would ever deserve it pocket. So we are not able to deliver at the speed of need. We are trying to deliver at the speed with accountability to satisfy your need. That is what we have been doing. And I think the pace at which we have been able to do so is a fairly good pace. And I want to thank you, those of you, especially my lady friend here, who was very vocal in saying she's happy to get her grant so she can cover her roof, get our life back together. I know many of you are out there suffering, water coming, you lose your fridge, you lose your bed, you're uncomfortable. I know. But the grants are going out now and they will go out apace. So there are a couple of things I want to say about the grants going out now. I will be asking MOCA to do a sampling for fraud in the recovery grants. In other words, we have to check that if you got a grant, that you actually use it for the purpose you got the grant for. And that you're not defrauding the government. Taking the grant, say you're going to do something with it, and you're going to do something else. That's not fair because somebody else who actually needed it could have gotten that grant. So I want to sound the warning clearly that if you get the grant, the portion of the grant that is directed at your roof, fix your roof. Start your roof. Buy it, because I know what's going to happen. Let me tell you. We know because we have constituents and we give grants to people, and sometimes people go to the hardware and they get the building grant and they go and they buy the 10 sheet of zinc and the 2x4 and the lot and so forth. And they do go home and they fix. But some get the grant and they go to the hardware and they stand up there and they watch and see who coming in. And then they say, you want to buy some zinc? And so here is the grant. See the farm here. You go inside here and you just give me $10,000 and you take it and go buy what you want. Some people do that. They never needed it. Somebody else who actually needed it could have gotten it. These are the kind of things that we will. Now, the way in which we are giving the grants now, it might not be so easy to do that because the grants are restricted as to where you can spend them and what you can spend them on. But people can still find their ways and we will be checking. We cannot be spending $10 billion. That's what we're spending. It's a lot of money. And we are not seeing the benefit of it in the roofs being restored. Spend it on restoring your roof. Now, just to be clear, the government is not just doing this alone. We have a comprehensive, what we call shelter restoration program. And it's important that I say this so the entire Jamaica knows, so that those people who are vested in spreading lies and misinformation by giving you the facts. You know. No, you know, Pernell, today we replace that word propaganda with fake news and misinformation. But we should really go back to that because that's the genesis of it, propaganda. You remember those days in the 70s when the propaganda. That's what it is. Now, we have a comprehensive program called the Shelter Restoration Program, the SRP. One element of the SRP is what we call the government-directed roof repair program, and that is led by the JDF, and we have several volunteer engineering corps here. We have the Guyanese, the Ghanaians, and the Rwandans are here, and they are in St. Elizabeth, they are in St. James, and they are in Westmoreland, and they are restoring roofs, and they are doing quite a good job. I toured what they were doing. The people are very happy, and they are proceeding well. Then we have the NHD. And the NHD has a program where they are giving grants up to $500,000 as well. And in fact, they have started to give their grants. And funny enough, they've gone over 1,000 grants already. Sorry, 6,000. They've gone over 6,000 grants. But you would never know. Nobody not calling the radio station to say, oh, you know, I got my grant. What you're going to get is the people call and say, oh, I don't get. But it is happening. See, people getting their grants. 6,000 people, the last report I had, but they move fast was 1,000, there are 6,000 now. We have some other programs as well, which are not necessarily for roof repair, but for rehabilitation. The World Food Program and other partners are also giving grants. And in fact, I mean, I should tell you a story that I got a call from someone who was saying, how the Prime Minister say, if you get severe damage, you get 500,000. but all I see in my bank account is 30,000. But you never hear that reach to the level of a complaint in the media because nobody wants to tell anybody that they got this $30,000 in their account and they don't know what it is for. It's just by accident some brave person decide to complain, and then I had to explain. I said, no. That's another program that the government is doing. Quite legitimate, and you would have qualified for it because you were assessed as being in need of rehabilitation, and you will get it for a couple of weeks, over the next month, 2 months or so. So the government is doing quite a bit. We haven't made too much of it. And the population is keeping it very quiet because nobody wants to be identified as, having received a benefit, and then somebody else have not gotten it. But very coordinated and very strategic. That is why we have gone through and done 86,000 assessments. So nobody's getting a benefit who is not on that list of 86,000 persons. Only persons who have been assessed will get the benefit. Now, if you have not received a benefit and you have not been assessed, and you will know, nobody came to your house, maybe you hear the assessors came in the community, but you weren't there. As Minister Charles pointed out, you can go online and fill out the self-assessment form or use your initiative. Go to the regional office. Speak to one of the social workers there. Explain your situation and let them come and assess you. All right? Now, I've made a commitment that I'm going to try and help everyone that is in need that has gone through assessment. But at some time, we are going to close assessments because we can't do it forever. The budget is not unlimited. So I would urge you, if you have not been assessed, to do so now because very soon we will have to close this. And the reason for that is that the hurricane management happens in 3 phases. 4 phases. The first phase is preparedness. And every year we go through a routine of disaster preparedness. We put out the ads. We tell you how to prepare yourself. If there is a hurricane coming, we go through an intensive process of giving you information so that you know what to do. A lot of people don't follow the information. They believe, the government telling lie or nothing going to come. We said to you, move, and you said, no, you're not move, you're going to stay with your house. All right? Hurricane come. People who never move, people who stay in disaster areas, we have to go find you. We said to you, don't build in the gully. Don't build on the steep hill. Don't go in the marsh. Don't build in the swamp. People still go do it. Hurricane come. Government have to go find resources. So that's the preparedness side of things. Then there is the relief. Hurricane come, shop close, water lock off. So we have to give you emergency aid. That's called humanitarian relief. And the relief part of our response continues even up till now, but it is winding down. Very shortly, we will officially close relief. The relief element was led by the JDF, ADPEM, and the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. In parallel to relief, we started recovery. And the recovery section now deals with restoring electricity. Well, firstly, restoring access. So that meant clearing the roads, moving the landslides and land slippages that occurred. And I believe you can say we are like 95% access restored all over. There are some areas, some rural areas still cut off because of major land slippage. Those we will have to deal with because, for some of them, it is better to reroute the road rather than to fix the landslide. And so we are assessing the cost benefits. Then restore electricity. And once you restore electricity, you have telecommunications and water. And we are about 95% there with the restoration of these critical utilities. And then restore roofs and shelter. And that's what we are doing now. We are restoring roofs and shelters. This we expect to last for another 2 months or so. So hurry up and restore your roof and your shelter. We will bring an end to that once we assess that all the critical elements of life are restored. Then now we have the fourth and final phase, which is the most important phase. And that phase is called the reconstruction and the resilience building phase. So there are some things that would have presented themselves to us as dangers and threats to the continuity of life and governmental function if there were to be another disaster. Our legacy is such that when the colonial powers were making decisions as to where they would locate hospitals or roads, and when our independence government were making some decisions, they weren't thinking that out of the 800 hurricanes that have occurred in the future, 200 of them would have occurred in the last 10 years. So when the governments from 1960 going on, making decisions, where is this road going to go? Where are we locating the hospital? Where are we putting the school? Where people are going to live? They weren't thinking that in the 60 years forward, we can't build close to the sea because sea levels are going to rise. You're going to have more hurricanes, more devastating storms. They weren't thinking to enforce on the people, don't build in the river course, because you're going to have more powerful storms that are going to erode the gully banks and the. We weren't thinking that way. But it has been exposed to us now that we have to start thinking that way. That we can't put towns so close to the sea anymore. The hospitals can't be so close to the sea. And so when we are thinking about how we are going to build resilience and reconstruct, it's not just build back the hospital where it was, build back the school where it was, build back the police station. No, another storm is going to come again. Did you think that after Beryl, we would have Melissa? So, if we see this happening, what are we going to do now? If we want to be able to preserve life, preserve property, preserve livelihood, then we have to build smart. We have to build strategic. And it's not just the government. You have to start thinking that way. Should I use zinc roof or concrete? And if I use concrete, how am I going to do it? I'm going to make sure that it is properly reinforced. In fact, I'm going to get an engineer to advise me. I'm going to follow the building codes. And boy, if I can't afford the concrete and have to using, then I must have properly spaced rafters supported by hurricane straps. You need to do that. That is what we mean when we say think smarter for your own resilience. Because you never had to think about that 50 years, 40 years ago, but you have to think about it now. It's a reality. So in the reconstruction phase, we are going to have to look at the things that are necessary to keep us functioning as a country if we are hit by a disaster. One of the things that was clear to us is that the roadway, this main road that we have here, coming from Spur Tree, Gutters, come all the way, this road can't carry a disaster. Can't carry a disaster. So we're going to have to go build a proper road with proper drainage at a higher level. That is going to be a part of the reconstruction. The Black River Hospital, the people there, the staff there did a wonderful job. But the hospital can't stay there. So too the Falmouth Hospital. So too Noel Homes. Because we see what it can do. So these are some of the things that we will have to relocate in the construction phase. To get to the construction phase, government needs to be totally focused. So it can't be doing or continue to do relief, restoration, and then to do reconstruction. So we want to wrap up very quickly. So we're going to wrap up relief. And the truth is, most people now don't want to see anybody bring no package, come give them anymore. They want to fix their roof now. They want a roof, right? So that's what we're doing now. Get the roof going. And once you get your roof, I know you will find your way. I know you will find your way. And then when we do the reconstruction, we know that if there, God forbid, were to be any other disaster, the impact of the disaster on the continuity of your life and livelihood would be less. And that's the process. And this is what your government has been doing. And this is what I am totally, wholly focused on for the last few months. And many other things I had planned to be doing. We'll still get back to them. But I have had to shift focus to make sure that Jamaica recovers swiftly and stronger than before the hurricane. And I close with the sentiment of the song. We are already rising again. God bless you and thank you.
One more time for our Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, thank you so much for your address this afternoon and for your continued leadership in Jamaica's recovery efforts. Thank you so much, sir. One more time for our Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, underscoring the government's unwavering commitment to restoring dignity, stability, and of course, safety for all families. Thank you so much, sir. Now, the Prime Minister mentioned that so far we've had 1,234 recipients, right? They have already benefited from the ROOFS program electronically. And I know a lot of persons are wondering how the payments will be made. So at this time, I'm going to kindly ask you to turn your attention to the screen as we're going to be showing you how the payment system will work.
Significant loss. Homes were damaged. Roofs were torn. The National Payment Company of Jamaica, in association with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, introduces the Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters program. In the wake of Hurricane Melissa, many families across our communities experienced significant loss. Homes were damaged, roofs were torn away, essential materials were destroyed. For thousands of Jamaicans, the priority now is simple: to rebuild, to repair, and to restore a sense of normalcy as quickly and safely as possible. The government of Jamaica understands that recovery must be timely, fair, and accountable. And we also understand that the process of receiving assistance must be simple, secure, and transparent for every citizen. That is why today we are introducing a modern digital approach to disaster assistance, one that allows affected persons to access support efficiently while ensuring proper oversight and responsible use of public funds. Through this initiative, Eligible individuals will receive hardware grants designed specifically to help families begin the rebuilding process, from essential construction materials to critical household repairs.
Once approved, individuals will receive a text message with a QR code. That QR code allows them to visit any participating hardware store and purchase the items they need.
This system removes unnecessary delays, reduces manual handling, and ensures that assistance reaches the people who need it most when they need it most. The beneficiary brings the QR code to the agent to redeem her grant. The agent uses the machine to scan the QR code presented by the beneficiary. She asks the beneficiary for her ID. She takes a photo of the ID, front and back. She takes a photo of the beneficiary. Then takes the photo of the receipt, enters the total amount seen on the receipt on the machine. She then gives the beneficiary the receipt from the machine and the receipt for the items purchased. Approved beneficiaries may also collect their grant in cash at Fesco gas stations island-wide. This can be done using the QR code issued to them. And it is that simple. A system built on accountability, focused on delivery, so that together we rebuild stronger, safer, and better. The National Payment Company of Jamaica, in association with the Ministry of Labor and Social Securities, introduces the Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters program.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, you watch a presentation, you understand the different ways that you can receive your grants, right? So we have the direct deposit to your bank account, the QR code or text message from WePay, prepaid cards as well, and we have those who have low-risk accounts. You will be given monies as well. So we will now move to the presentation of the roof repair grants on the roofs, and I'll ask the beneficiaries to come forward only when your name is called. Please, of course, pause briefly so we can get the photo ops, and we do ask for your cooperation during the presentation, all right? Now, I should also mention that for those of you who do not have a bank account, we have Sagicor and NCB on location, and all you have to do is after the ceremony, you can make your way to one of the officers, and they will assist you with signing up. And if you are not ready today, just yet, you can still collect the form for when you are ready, okay? All right, so we're going to be starting things off with our prepaid card presentations before we get into the check presentations. And at this time, I'd like to invite our Sagicor representative, Mr. Kavon Williams, branch manager, and our state minister, Mr. Donovan Williams, who will be assisting us with those presentations. I'm going to kindly ask for some assistance to go to my left, please, so we can have our proper photo ops taken, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, our first recipient, Janet Dunn. Is Janet here? Janelle Thompson. Janet? All right. Give them a hearty round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. just a few of our recipients who will be receiving their prepaid cards. The government did mention inclusivity, and we have to ensure that everyone has access to the grants. Thanks so much, Janet. Janelle Thompson. Come on up, Janelle. Give her a round of applause, guys. Oliver Bowes, you can make your way to the stage as well. Oliver Bowes. Raphael Smith. Rashima Cummings. I see someone coming. Rashima, come on up, Rashima. Give her a round of applause as well. Oliver, hold on, Oliver. 1 second. Next, Oliver Bowes. And I see Raphael coming as well. Thank you so much, Oliver. Next up, Raphael Smith. Give Raphael a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Is Roddy or Rudy here? Rudy Baker? You can make your way to the side of the stage. Roddy? Okay, I see you. Thank you so much, Raphael. And our final recipient this afternoon, Roddy Baker. Give him a round of applause as well, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to our State Minister, Mr. Donovan Williams, and our Sagicor Rep, Mr. Kevon Williams. All right, so at this time, I'd like to invite Minister Charles to the stage, who will be assisting us with a few of our presentation checks. Yes, thank you, Minister. And let me just remind you, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have a bank account already, we do have representatives from Sagicor and NCB. They are to my right, which if you are sitting, it would be to your left. You see the NCB tent right there. And of course, we have the Sagicor green and blue draped tent as well. They are here to assist you with signing up. I'd like to invite the Prime Minister as well to join us on stage for these three presentations. And let me just let you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a representation of each category. Okay? So not everyone will hear their name to come up to collect this check. But of course, we have started distributing the grants already. So my first recipient in the category of minor damage, Shervin Bennett. Please to give Shervin a round of applause, receiving a grant for minor damage. All the very best to you, Shervin. And we're looking forward to seeing how this $75,000 will assist you and your family. A ROOFS beneficiary. Thank you so much. In the category of major damage, Chevanese Myrie. Minister Green, can you join us as well for this presentation, please? Chevanese. Oh, Chevanese is on her way up. Come on up, Chevanese. Give her a round of applause for me, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just remind you, everyone will receive your payment electronically or through your card or through the text. But this is just a representation of each category. We don't want you to be here all afternoon into evening, okay? Thank you so much, Chevanese, Myri. And in the category of severe damage, let's invite Brandon Miller to the stage. Come on up, Brandon. Give Brandon a round of applause. All the very best to you on your recovery efforts, Brandon, and we are definitely looking forward to seeing the shift and the difference that this grant will make. Lots of assistance, lots of support. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you so much, Prime Minister and Minister Charles. Brandon, don't go anywhere. I know that you do want to say thanks to all parties involved for these grants. So please put your hands together for Brandon Miller, one of our recipients this afternoon in the category of severe damage.
Before Brandon speaks, permit me to just... The story of Brandon is one that is moving, inspiring, encouraging. In the middle of the storm, you never understand how persons with disabilities are impacted. Persons with disabilities have a wide range of different, unique circumstances. And we got a call, Prime Minister, maybe about 1 a.m. one morning, that there was a young man who was trapped in his house and needed support. And it is the partnership between Jamaica, and I think at that time it was the U.S. who provided some airlift support with the JDF team, that we were able to go in. Miss Corodas, she's here. Is she here? Miss Corodas was a vigilant advocate. I think we're on the phone for hours trying to make this a reality. Cooperation to successfully rescue Brandon in the midst of this storm, to save him from what could be from Melissa. And he's here today to collect his check, and as a testament of a government that not only cares in words, but cares in its strategic action. So, Brandon, I want to thank you. Thank you, and we are proud of you, because Ms. Corodas, who is our acting Chief Technical Director that is embedded in the West throughout all of this, speaks so high. She speaks so much of you that all of us at the ministry feel like we are part of the family for Brandon. So, Brandon, again, welcome to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys having me to make a presentation and a testimony in regarding of the hurricane that happened since last year, Melissa. It was very traumatic. I go through a category first 5 hurricane, first time experience a category 5. And I can tell you, God is good all the time. Because 2025, I lose my mother. I don't have any mother, no family relative. Most of my support come through God and Good Samaritan. So I appreciate living 2026 right now. So I have to give God thanks first and foremost. Secondly, I want to give the Ministry of Social Security a big thank you to play a role in empathy towards my situation and reaching out to multiple people, also the JDF and the fire brigade team to come and rescue me that night, because I was really trapped in my house, nowhere to go. What a good thing I was good with social media. Despite I don't have any limbs, I'm very good. I can do graphic design, digital editing. I do a lot. I do music. Also, I make music and rhythm. I do a lot of things despite I don't have any limbs. So I really have to give them a thank out to make acknowledgement of my situation and awareness what's going on with me. And that night they come about 1:30 a.m. in the morning to come and rescue me. Rain was falling, breeze was blowing, the yard was completely dark. I never have no way to come out. They'd have to literally clear the way for me to come out. So I have to give thanks again to the JDF and the fire brigade team. Also, I want to give thanks also to the most Honorable Andrew Owens to make this speech today. Is not only a government of sympathy, but of empathy. That's what our country needs. Empathy, not sympathy. I don't want somebody to be sorry for me. Because I lose my hands because I was helping someone. I got electrocuted, third-degree burn. 13,000 voltage run through my body. And I can tell you, it was an ex-good Samaritan come and rescue me that day. Because the person that I was helping, she literally panicked and didn't know what to do. And someone else have to rescue me because of my good deeds that I do in the past. So careful of how you treat people, because you never know who going to pick you up when you fall. You understand? And despite I go through all of these obstacles, I still have an optimistic mind. I know, say, things will change. You understand? The other day, a lot of people watching me on the internet see me painting my house. Despite I don't have any hands, I get a paintbrush, I tie it on my hand, and I paint my house just to make it look different. Not because we go through a storm, I'm just going to just leave myself there hanging out like helpless. I'm going to find ways to make things better for myself and for my Jamaican citizens. And I want everyone to acknowledge the strength in me and use me as a motivation and an inspiration. Never give up. Remember, say we are God's creation. Have a wonderful day. God bless.
I am at a loss for words. What a touching testimony. Am I the only one who is experiencing goose pimples right now? And I'm listening to Brandon talk and my heart is full. My heart is so full. And it just goes to show the importance of coming together, the importance of partnership, the importance of being selfless, and the importance of also having a purpose. Because no matter the storm, no matter what comes your way, nothing can deter or stop your purpose in this life. And no matter the adversity that Brandon has endured or gone through, his mindset has never, ever changed. And that is so admirable. Brandon, wherever you are, I don't see where you turn, but I pray and I wish God's greatest blessings upon your life, that you will continue to prosper, and that all good things will be bestowed upon your life, because you deserve it with a mindset like that. And I hope that you have inspired more persons here this afternoon, that no matter what we go through, we are resilient people, we are strong, and we can come back even better. And no matter what, we should always have that positive mindset and help each other. Brandon, thank you so much one more time for our beneficiary this afternoon. Purpose is clear, so clear. Thank you. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're wrapping things up. So at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Kamisha Anderson-Thomas, Director of Public Assistance in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, who will be doing the vote of thanks.
Brandon, your calling is as unique as your DNA. Therefore, you are the perfect match for your purpose. After every storm, there is a moment that lingers. Not when everything is repaired, but when people pause to ask, what now? Today feels like that moment, the moment when rebuilding begins with intention, care, and resolve, and when hope starts to take shape again. With protocols already so beautifully established. Great afternoon, everyone. Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, I want to thank you this afternoon, sir, for your keynote address and for your steady leadership. Your words today reminded us that recovery does not happen by chance. It takes a deliberate, coordinated care, one that's rooted in consciousness. You reaffirmed that restoring shelter is not just about rebuilding structures, but about rebuilding dignity, stability, and hope to Jamaican family. It takes cash to care. Minister, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., I want to thank you, sir, for your remarks and for your consistent guidance in the ministry. Your leadership ensures that social protection remains people-centered. Yes, compassionate and accountable. To the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Jennings, thank you for your warm and reassuring welcome and your steady guidance. To Ms. Michelle Sr., your opening prayer grounded us in faith and humility. To Mr. Dar, you're one of our own MLSS staff. Thank you for playing so skillfully. We shall rise again. Today's presentation marks a powerful turning point. To the Ministry of Labor team and our assessors, we thank you for the hard work and dedication. To our private sectors and persons who joined us, thank you. Now, to Mrs. Brown, thank you for your guidance today, ma'am. You continue to lead with grace and warmth. And finally, to our families and community members here today, thank you for your patience, your resilience, and your trust. As we move forward, may this initiative not only repair roofs overhead, but strengthen foundation beneath, restoring confidence and peace of mind. Now, today, we have lifted more than beams and sheets. We have lifted burdens, and every roof repairs remind us that recovery is stronger when we build together. Thank you, and may God continue to bless you and bless Jamaica.
Recovery is indeed stronger when we build together. Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson-Thomas, for summing up our ceremony this afternoon so beautifully. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we close, we recognize that today represents real support moving from planning and assessment into delivery, structure, accountable, and of course, focused help towards families, and to help everyone return to their safe living conditions. And on behalf of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, thank you so much to our Prime Minister, our ministers, our Permanent Secretary, our team in St. Elizabeth, our partners, the media, our community here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. Please travel safely. And of course, thank you again so much for being here. Stronger together always. Thank you again. Now, one quick thing. I was just told those who collected Sagicor cards, please to go over to the booth at the right there at the back with the tent to activate the card. So it's a green and blue wrapped tent. If you received your Sagicor cards, please just head on over there to activate your cards. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this afternoon on our road to recovery.